In January and February of 2019, Donald Trump directed us to go and take immigrants from the border and, quote, bus and dump them into Democratic cities and blue states. He wanted us to take immigrants from the border, take them into blue states and cities and put them in there, but he was much more specific. He wanted us to identify the murderers, the rapists, and the criminals, and in particular, make sure we did not incarcerate them and we put them in those cities. Okay, it doesn't take a lawyer or a genius to recognize this would likely be very illegal to do, but put aside the murderers and the rapists and the criminals, could you take people from the border and just dump them into blue states? We went and we asked the lawyers and they told us, no, the federal government cannot do that. Congress has not authorized that. And now look, these governors are walking into the same problem that we told the White House was illegal and they couldn't do, and now they're trying to do the same thing.
So that is Miles Taylor, you might be familiar with. He is formerly of the Trump administration, became a big critic of the Trump administration in the later years. And bearing in mind that he has been talking about this sort of thing on social media for a bit, didn't initially come out with it when the requests were made by Trump. So let's just bear in mind all of that. But that, if that is true, if he can be trusted on this, is devastating. It is like so much clearly even worse than what Ron DeSantis did, to intentionally send people you think or know to be murderers or rapists to murder and rape people in blue areas as a punishment against your political opponents is, I kind of want to say, the worst thing I've literally ever heard a politician do, I think. And that's what's being alleged. In any event though, I do have to apologize because I got something wrong earlier this week when we were talking about Donald Trump and how jealous he was, as you'll see in this, of DeSantis stealing his plan for shipping migrants. I thought that that was just Trump doing what Trump is gonna do, claiming that he came up with everything and how dare you take my idea. In this case, no, apparently Trump actually has a point. This was his idea and he had a purer, more cruel version of it. Ron DeSantis is doing something that's totally inhuman, but so far he hasn't been specifically looking for murderers. So I think Trump has a point. DeSantis is biting off of Trump's style. JR, what do you think?
Serious illustration of a lack of consequences for certain folks. They're so detached from any kind of consequence or legal actions towards them that as they do it, again, they'll say right in front of everyone's face and announce it. Yeah, we broke the law. Hey, that guy broke the law that I was trying to break before my attorneys told me that I'm gonna be breaking the law. Usually you would say, whoa, glad I missed that one. Instead, it's, I can't believe he stole my idea. They don't think there will be any consequences for anything they do. So much so, they will announce they just committed crimes. I committed a crime. He stole my crime. They don't expect to actually be held accountable. Which is why when they begin to be held accountable, they start calling the folks that come after them peekaboos, as we heard earlier about Letitia James. That's how bad it is.
Yeah, look, I would have loved for this to be reported immediately when it happened. I would love, if there is documented evidence of this that Miles Taylor can provide, I would love for that to be released. For all we know, it was just conversations. We do have to just take, his word on faith, I guess, which I don't like doing in politics ever, let alone with someone who willingly, voluntarily worked for Donald Trump. But this is just another one that, like, we during one of our social breaks, someone asked, what are there, 20, 30 investigations of Trump? And like, no, but this is how crazy it is. This thing that we're talking about right now, we're gonna have to forget about by tomorrow, definitely by 2 days from now. It's not gonna be investigated. No. There's not gonna be any, like we have a few things that maybe he'll suffer consequences for, but like apparently sending murderers to blue areas, we will never know the truth of that. There will never be consequences of that. Don't we live in an insane world?
For more political news breakdowns, interviews, stories of activism, and me trying my hardest to care about the occasional big celebrity news story, subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/thedamagereport. And you can ring the bell wherever it is so you don't miss anything.